not joining my community? My community is inactive. People join my community, but they're not engaging. People join, but they keep leaving. I don't know what to do. It's so frustrating. Well, I heard you. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 21 community engagement ideas that you can implement, even if you don't have a budget, to engage your community. Let's get into it. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Onyeka Adedayo. I'm a full stack marketer and community builder. If you've not already subscribed, please do. Today, we're going to be talking about community engagement ideas because I get it. I'm a community builder. I've been building a community for the past 3 years. I understand how difficult it can be thinking of how to engage community members, and then the fact that you're also managing people, and people are not easy to manage. It doesn't matter the idea that you even implement. Some persons will just not be satisfied, and I get the frustration. I get how draining it is. And when you search on platforms like Google, on YouTube, you may not necessarily find the ideas that you're looking for. Well, take it from a community builder to a community builder or potential community builder. I am about to share with you some engagement ideas that we actually implement in our community, and I think that would also do wonders for your community. Now, before we get into this conversation, understand that communities are important. Like businesses, individuals, every single person wants to have a community nowadays. And platforms like X, Instagram are even giving creators, businesses the opportunity to have their own communities. That's how important communities are. So if you're wondering, oh, why should I invest in a community? You should, because it's a very good way to build loyalty, retention, get your audience involved in what you're building or your customers involved in what you're building, and also establish yourself as a thought leader. All right, here are some interesting statistics for you to note. Many community managers out there actually face the challenge of being consistent with engagement ideas every single time. So you are not alone. Also, community managers attest to the fact that it's sometimes difficult to tie community growth to business outcome. And many of them just end up tracking monthly active users. That's the only metric to them that they consider valuable to the business. But I can tell you for a fact that that is not the only metric, and we'll be breaking it down in this video. Community members have also testified to the fact that they would love to engage with communities whose brands are reliable, trendy, funny, exclusive, and bold. Reliable means that they want to be able to come to your community and find information that is valuable and trustworthy. Trendy means that they want to be able to come to your community and see that you are in line with the trends, whatever is happening in the industry, right? They can count on your community to give them all the information that they require. Exclusive means that they would love to feel like this community belongs to us. It belongs to this kind of people, the kind of people that I am, right? And one of the ways that we've been able to implement that in my community is by setting up a form that allows us to collect people's data, because we found out that doing this makes people feel like, okay, there is a process to belong in, and after doing this process, it's just a no-brainer that you don't want to do anything to jeopardize it. We've also implemented something called monthly cleanup in our community, where we are cleaning out accounts that are inactive and ensuring that we only have active and engaged people in the community. It works because people have made it a mental note to always engage in the community because of that one little action. Moving on to bold, people want to be part of communities that are bold, that are able to take a stand, that can be proactive, that can come up with random, exciting ideas to engage community members. Then you have funny communities. Just because we are in a group to gain knowledge does not mean we should not laugh. I mean, laughter is part of life, and if community members can get this out of your brand, then they will definitely be there for the long haul. Let's now talk about 21 engagement ideas that you can use for your community. I'm going to break this down into different categories just because it's easy that way to keep tabs, and I've written out, on my little note here, what each of these categories is going to contain, and I'll just give you like the category listing. So we're going to have engagement ideas to educate, to engage, to entertain, to drive brand and culture adoption, and finally to provide support and feedback. Now you're wondering why these particular categories. Well, these are all the categories that I would say that you need if you want to build a thriving community. You want to educate people. We are in a world now where information is almost everywhere, right? But people still want that person to person feel, that person to person connection. And that is where you educating your audience actually becomes so valuable, right? So, under education, you have things like teaching industry knowledge. In my community, for example, we're a community for digital skill enthusiasts. We try to teach on different things, not just on key concepts like, oh, what is digital marketing, what is coding, and things like that. We also want to talk about the other areas that are often ignored. Or how do you know what you're due for a promotion? How can you generate content ideas for building in public? I'm going to attach some of the links in the description so that you can also check it out. But it has been a game changer for our community, and people love the value that they get in the community. Next, you also have hosting webinars and training. I can tell you for free that organizing training can be one of the ways that you not only engage your community but also acquire new community members. People love to be educated, and you can present that to them. No matter the industry that you're in, there is something that you can teach. So go all out, look for ideas, and schedule webinars and live training. You'll be amazed that it does wonders for your community. Another thing is you can invite experts to come teach. So, as opposed to maybe you handling these sessions, you can bring in an expert. That's another community engagement idea that you should try. You can bring in an expert to teach. Why I like bringing in an expert is this: one, I am still doing what I want to do, educating my community, getting new community members, engaging my existing community members. And then I have the opportunity to tap into the network of the experts, right? Because these experts, they have their own network of people that you may never have reached if you were just doing your things alone. Then finally, in this section, it is good to have product themed interactive content. Now, what are product themed interactive content? So think things like polls, trivias, quizzes, but instead of you sharing random polls, random quizzes, and things like that, you create these polls with your product in mind. So, say for instance, you have a software as a service solution for businesses, right? You can engage your community with something like a quiz, just stating what is the best software application for solving this problem. In this case, a problem that you already solve. People get to pick one, and that way they'll be learning more about your products, even though they are participating in an interactive content style. You get. Well, let's move to the next. Engagement. It is not only good to educate, you also have to engage, because people can read an educational style content and not interact. They can just take the information and go out. But with engagement, you are requesting or demanding a response through the things that you're doing. And the first way to actually do this is to ask questions. I cannot overemphasize this a lot. Recently in my community, we asked community members what are the top three challenges you're facing in your career growth. And they gave a lot of ideas. Over 25 people responded. And from these answers that they gave to us, we were able to come up with a monetized program for our community members that would also add value and solve the problems that they're facing. So these are the kind of things that you get when you ask questions. People give you their ideas, their solutions, they tell you how they're solving a particular problem. And if you're a community manager, you understand that feedback is so important. So remember when I said that community managers find it hard to tie community growth and engagement to business outcome. Well, one of the ways that you can actually do that is by providing feedback to your team. As a community manager, you are the first person that a potential customer is interacting with. Now, imagine that you get all this feedback, you collate it in a spreadsheet, and you indicate consistencies and say, okay, 5 out of the 20 people who complain about something in our community today talked about this. I think it would be nice for us to make this kind of correction to our product. That is valuable feedback, valuable user insights that can actually improve your product. So you see that monthly active users are not the only metrics to track. You can also track the kind of feedback that you're getting, the quality of the feedback, the consistencies in this feedback. But back to our conversation, another way that you can engage your community is by organizing co-creation opportunities. I like to think of co-creation opportunities as a time where yourself and community members pair together to come up with something. In our community, there's something we do called the accountability week, where we help community members be accountable for that week. So we ask you, what are the goals you want to achieve this week? And once it's stated, we also tell you the goals we want to achieve. And then every single day, we hold each other accountable. We ask you, what were you able to accomplish out of the goals that you listed out this week? And people give their responses. We also hold ourselves accountable and share what we were able to achieve, the blockers that we faced. And if there are any ways that we can support community members, we go ahead and support. That's a co-creation activity, and it has turned out to be so valuable to our community. We've also realized from the data that people who participate in community activities tend to actually stay longer in the community. So it's very important that you're not only educating, but you're also engaging, because with that engagement comes loyalty. Next thing that you can try under this category of engagement is peer to peer mentorship. Who says that you always have to be the one talking to the community members? You can pair community members up to talk to each other, to help each other out, right? And it's so low effort, maximum impact that I do not expect you to not try it. It is very useful. Next up in ideas that you can implement under this category is letting members handle micro projects. See, guys, community management does not mean that you have to be the only person doing everything. No, it is community building. It is effort of different individuals, and you want to maximize that so that you maintain your sanity. So allowing community members to actually lead certain micro tasks can actually be a game changer. In 2022, we did a Web3 Scribe program in collaboration with one of our partners called IRHQ, and we allowed community members to be split into different groups and appoint a leader over these different groups. As a team, they had to collaborate to write articles together. We've had community members since that time who are still in the community today. Another thing that you can do is to organize UGC campaigns. In organizing UGC campaigns, one of the things that you're doing is getting community members to also, show up on your distribution channels. I think that this is very, very important to build trust and also to get credibility in the minds of other people. I don't know if you've ever visited a website and then you saw things like, don't just take our word for it, hear from other people, or 500 plus people cannot be wrong. What are they doing? They are validating their credibility with other people's voices, and that is what you're doing with UGC campaigns. Community management is not a you and you alone affair. You need to involve community members. All right, there is no community without the people. Okay, that's that for UGC campaigns. Now let's move on to brand and culture. Personally, I think that this is so important to elaborate, and every time that I get to talk about community management, community engagement, I always talk about it. People build communities, but they build it like it is just a community, but it is not just a community. It's a means to an end, right? It's a distribution channel, and it should always have an outcome. One of the things that you can implement under the brand and culture category for, like community engagement ideas under the brand and culture category is team advocacy. In 2025, marketing is changing. People no longer want to be marketed to, just you as a company telling them something. No, they want to read your founder's story. They want, to see your team members sharing their story about how life working in your organization looks like, right? So team advocacy, founder branding, it is so important right now. And you cannot afford to be ignoring it at this time. Get team members involved. That's one of the ways that you get the team members to advocate for what you're building as an organization. Next, you have insider events. It is popular to see many organizations and community launching outreach events. Now, what are outreach events? Outreach events are events that are organized to bring people in. So you're reaching people who have probably never met you before. You're trying to drive adoption of your product or adoption of your community in a particular region, and then you do publicity and you attract people who have never met you. But with an in-reach event, you're going for people who already use your product. Organizing an event where you are just inviting only community members, that's an in-reach event. And the beautiful thing about in-reach events is that it strengthens the bond in your community, and you can easily use that to expose your community members or users to people of similar interests. And I mean, who doesn't like things like that? Next, you have sharing user testimonials. Testimonials are important. Normalize sharing reviews or testimonials of people who have used your product. Dedicate specific times to just sharing these kind of reviews. It can do a lot for the trust community members have in your product. Then you have product contest. Remember, I said that people only track monthly active users. Well, you can also use product contest as a way to drive acquisition for your product. So who says that you cannot launch a referral contest that is tied to your product? I mean, if you run an organization and you're offering a B2B software as a service solution, you can get community members to refer 5 friends in exchange for maybe 100 USD. Now, referring 5 friends to win 100 USD sounds attractive. It will definitely get the eyes of other people on the campaign. But you leave a clause. You say only community members can participate. This would mean that people would have to join your community. So already you're having community growth. And when they join the community, they have to refer people to win the prize. So you're having community growth and you're having product growth as well, right? And then of course, it doesn't always have to be a monetized contest. You can give out other rewards, right? You can share credit, you can share resources, you can share access to specific information or specific gatherings and things like that. It doesn't always have to be monetized, but it's a beautiful way to actually drive product growth for your business if you are a community manager for a company. Then we have partnership collaboration. I am such a big advocate for partnerships that work. I dislike when you have partnerships but they're not working, right? What's the essence of signing a partner if at the end of the day you're not doing anything together? You're better off alone, right? So I always ask every single community manager that I see that they need to tap into the power of partnerships. If you have partners within your organization, co-organize a campaign, organize sessions within your community and also their community, right? It exposes you to a world of opportunities and you definitely have to try partnership collabs out. Now we also have entertainment. All work and no play makes community members dull. You want to entertain people, and there are many ways that you can do this. First, you can ask them to share memes. It doesn't always have to be you sharing the memes. You can ask, what is your favorite memes at the moment? Share them with us, right? You can have a day dedicated to this. You can also do games. So platforms like Discord, Telegram allow you to integrate gaming bots. Then you have trends and news, right? When you have something trending within your industry or relevant to your community members, take advantage of it. Maybe there is a tweet that you've seen that is relevant to your industry and maybe has 1 million impressions. Take a screenshot, bring it to the community and say, what do you think? How would you handle the situation if it were you? And things like that. You see that people start responding, a lot of laughter erupts in moments like this. So trends and news are also a good way to entertain people. Finally, you have support and feedback. I think that this is an ongoing thing, not something that you probably dedicate a particular time to, because I mean, people are always going to have feedback if they are using your product or if they are finding it difficult to navigate in your community. So support should always be ongoing. Make sure that you have things like office hours activated where community members can join a call and speak to the team in real time, share any challenges that they have or anything that they need clarity on. You can also include member milestones in this category. So celebrating members when they have new jobs, when they achieve new milestones, take a new course, get a new certificate, when it's their birthdays and things like that. Make sure to celebrate them. Then you have product demo. Something that I see among community managers are they are engaging the community, but they rarely talk about their product. They rarely show how useful their product is to the community members, and that really needs to change. If you're a community manager for a company, you want to make sure that you are giving product demos. It can be as little as writing out text and saying this is how to do XYZ using our product, right? Or you can organize virtual events where people get to watch how you're using your product to solve a particular problem, right? Product demos are so important, and I think we need to normalize them. Now, the frequency of all of these activities can vary. These are just community engagement ideas. You can choose whether you want to do it daily, weekly, bi weekly, monthly, whatever frequency that works for you. Next, you can determine whether you want to spend a budget on these things or you just want to keep them organic, right? Now, all of the ideas that I've shared with you today, you can do even without a budget or on a slim budget. So I don't expect that money should be a problem for you. Then, third, it is important that irrespective of the activity that you're doing, you ensure that it is aligned with what you're trying to achieve as an organization and include call to actions where needed. Call to actions are those things that you add at the end of a content, right? Getting people to take a particular action. By adding a call to action, people know what you would like them to do with the piece of information that they've just received. As little as, oh, please engage this post, or please share, or please go ahead and vote, and things like that. It goes a long way. So make sure that you're doing that. Then you want to ensure that you're syncing your social media or your distribution channels with your community engagement. Sometimes community managers act like there are no other distribution channels in the organization. They don't want to know what is happening on the blog. They don't want to know what is happening on the social media platforms. They don't want to know what is happening, elsewhere. you're just focused on community engagement, but that's not how it works. You are there representing a company or representing like an individual, right? So you want to make sure that you are present, you know what is happening across all the platforms, and you can easily extract content from these platforms to share with the community. It shows that there is synergy. It shows that there is some sort of alignment between what is happening on social media and the community as well. When you're having campaigns on social media, share it with your community. Don't just keep it for social media peeps. This is everything that I'll be sharing today. If this content has been valuable, say thank you by subscribing, leaving a like, and telling other people about it. And if you have questions, drop it in the comment section and I'll definitely respond. If you've not already subscribed, I see you. Subscribe now.